In this video, we are hunting a box of nickels. We'll be looking for any older Jeffersons from before 1960, including war nickels, as well as buffaloes, or anything older. We'll also be looking for any proofs, heirs of varieties, or foreigns, or any other cool things we can find. There are a few reverse enders with Denver mint marks, which means they're at least 1964 or earlier, so hopefully those will be older. Let's start the hunt, and I'll bring you in when we have our first find. Roll number 2, and we have our first older Jefferson, and it is a 1954, minted in Denver. Roll number 5, we're going to have our second find, and it's a really old one. It's a second year Jefferson, 1939. Sadly, I already looked. It's no mint mark, so it's a common Philadelphia, and it's not the DDR, but still, any 30s nickel is a good find. Roll number 7, and we have our first Canadian nickel of the box, and it's from 1998. Roll number 8, and we have our first nickel from the 40s, and it is a 1940, and it's out of Philly. Roll number 9 will be our third roll in a row with a find, and it's just a 1958 from Denver. Roll number 13, 2 finds. First is a 1948 from San Francisco, and a 1957 out of Denver. Roll number 14 was a great roll, because it had 5 older Jeffersons, and one was the ender. So this was the ender. I saw that in Denver mint mark, and it turned out to be a 1946. Also, it came with a 1940 out of Philly, which has the same kind of environmental damage as that 46. Also a 1941 out of Philly, a 1946 out of Denver, same as the ender, and a 1956 out of Philly. That was an awesome roll. Next roll, roll number 15, we have a couple more 40s finds. First is a pretty damaged 1947 out of Philly, and also a 1948 out of Philly as well. Roll number 16, and we have our second 30s nickel of the box already, and it's just another 1939 out of Philly. So good find. Roll number 19, and we have the first 2009 of the box. Roll 22, and we have another older Jefferson, and it is a 1954 from Denver. Roll 23, and we had 3 finds. Well, this was a 1952, minted in Denver. Next, another 1954 out of Denver, and a 1956 out of Philly. Roll number 24, we have another 40s, and it is a pretty worn 1946 out of Philly. Roll number 25, halfway point of the box, and this roll is really good. Before I show you the big find, I'd already pulled out the third 1939 of the box, just like the others at the Philly, not the DDR, and another 1954 out of Denver. But why I bring you in is because I just uncovered a war nickel. 35% silver. It's from 1944. Let's see what mint it is. It's a Philly. 1944 Philly, 35% silver war nickel. First of the box, that's an awesome find. Same roll and a couple coins behind that war nickel. We had a 1958 minted in Denver. Roll number 26, only one roll after that silver, and we have a 1957 out of Denver. Roll number 29 had one from the 40s and one from the 50s. 40s is a 1940 out of Philly, and 50s is yet another 1954, and it's out of Denver like the rest. Roll number 31 had a couple different finds. First is barely an old Jefferson. It's just a 1959 out of Denver. Second is another Canadian nickel, and pretty interesting, just like the first one. It's a 1998. Next roll, roll 32, and we have another 50s Jefferson, and it's just another 1958 from Denver. Roll 33, and we have yet another find, and this one is a 1947 from Philly. Roll number 34, and we have 2 more older Jeffersons. First is a 1946 out of Philly. Next is a 1955 out of Denver. Roll 36, we have another older Jefferson, and it's our first run from this year, and it is a 1953 minted in Denver. Roll number 38, we have a couple more finds, and I've been finding a lot of coins with this type of like corrosion or damage on them from like the 60s and earlier. Both of these are old. This one's a 1941 out of San Francisco, and this one was actually an ender, a reverse facing 1959 out of Denver. Roll 39, and we have a 1957 nickel, and it is from Denver. Roll number 40, and we're going to have another epic find. I did already see it, but this is how it originally was. I did see that it had a mint mark. Now I can see that it's an S, and when I flipped it over, saw the year 1938. First year Jefferson, key date 1938, San Francisco. Very low mintage, very rare find, very cool. Rule 42, and we have yet another 1957D. Rule number 43, we're going to have the third foreign in the box. It's not another 1998, but it is a 1997. Rule number 47, we have another 40s find, and it is a 1940 out of Philly. Rule number 50, and we have one more last find, and it is just a 1949 out of Philly. Now let's get on to the wrap-up. Nickel box has been hunted. Let's go over the finds. We had 17 Esmonts, 3 foreigns, all were from Canada, a 1997 and 2 1998s, and we only had one 2009 out of Denver. Older Jeffersons, just like the last box, we had quite a bit. We had 38, ranging from 1938 all the way to 1959. A couple good dates mixed in there, like a 48S, a few 39s, so pretty good on the older Jeffersons. 2 finds of the box were that 1938 San Francisco key date, around 5 million minted, so that's pretty cool. And a 1944P, 35% silver, war nickel. Overall, that was a really good box.